Welcome everyone to this Europe PMC API workshop. I'm Summer, the Europe PMC Community Outreach Officer, and I'll be chairing this session, adding links into the chat along as we go, and also monitoring the chat for any questions. This workshop will be delivered by the Europe PMC's full stack developer, Madhu, and she will be covering developer tools and APIs that we provide. Madhu will work through some case studies with you, and then following that, you will also get the opportunity to try either an example of your own or one we've prepared for you, and we're on hand to field any questions. Lovely. I will hand over to Madhu.
Thank you, Summer. I hope you all can hear me well. So good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all had a great lunch and are feeling energized. And I also hope not to make you guys sleep, just finger crossed. My name is Madhu. As mentioned, I'm a full stack developer at Europe PMC. And our goal of this workshop is to enhance your understanding and ability to utilize Europe PMC's extensive developer resources. By the end of the session, we hope you feel more confident navigating and implementing the APIs and learn something new and valuable that you can apply to your projects. With that, so over the next 90 minutes, I'll cover several key topics, such as understanding and utilizing the citation network data available in Europe PMC and various data link resources, and identifying author and other affiliation information or other information associated with the authors and articles. And also information related to evaluations, like the peer review information. And as well as we'll see more about the article status monitor tool that we have and how to access those information via the API and still more. So these are just the key topics that I'll be covering. And this is the agenda for today. So I'll start with a brief introduction to content and the APIs available in Europe PMC. And following that, we'll delve into 4 different use cases as outlined here. And after each use case, we'll have some hands-on sessions where you can try out the APIs and ask any questions that you may have. With that, I'll give a brief introduction to Europe PMC's content. And yeah, as you see here, Europe PMC is very rich in content, where we have 44 million abstracts from sources like PubMed, Agricola, and more. In addition to journal articles and books, we also have over 818K preprints from 32 preprint servers that we index. And we also have full text articles of 9.9 million and also full text preprints of over 62,000. And out of those 44 million records, 9.9 million are free to read in Europe PMC, and nearly 6.2 million are open access that you can bulk download with CC license. And for commercial use, we also provide CCO license that you can see here. And we also have article identifiers, which are very crucial when forming search queries. So we have source, and it is a 3-letter code representing one of the data sources. For example, med for PubMed or PMC for PubMed Central, and so on. And we also have ID or identifiers like PM ID is used to specify that it's a PubMed ID, or PMC ID for PubMed Central ID, and so on. And the full list is available in your search syntax page that is linked here and also pinned in the chat, I guess. Yeah, so these are some of the identifiers that will be mainly used for the API when you form the queries. Moving on, we also have rich metadata and connections with citations and reference information and author and affiliation information and funding information, and as well as data links, so whether it can be cross DB references or external links provided by various providers and more. And so I'll brief out each of these of what exactly we offer in these. So taking citations and references, we have reference list for almost 18.8 million articles. And there is a separate API called references. The endpoint is references to access this content programmatically. And we have around 670 million citations, and this data can be accessed via an API as well, where you can search by citing or cited article, and even you can sort by citations count, ascending or descending, and more. And I'll actually cover this with one of the use cases on how to extract more information from this API. And moving on, if we take a look at the author and affiliation information, we have almost 15.7 million articles and 3.6 million authors with ORCID linked. And we also have something called ORCID claiming tool, and we offer ORCID author search as well. And there's also ORWAR ID matching script for the affiliations. And hope it's clear so far. And moving on to the funding information, we have around 8.8 million grants linked to the publications that we show on our website. And in those, for 100K, we have grant data in our database related to either COVID-19 or the grants from Europe PMC funders. And we provide an API called Grants API to access these data available in our database. And we also have a search function available with grant DOIs, which is linked to the grant data. And yeah, that's about the funding information. And we have almost 17.6 million database cross-references, cross-links available. These are either data accessions and DOIs, which are text mined from abstract and full text of articles, or it can be the links directly provided by the database, or it can be external links provided by external sources. And these are available to search also by data accession or resource links. And we also have an API called Annotations API to access these informations as well. But with this data links, so we have a endpoint called data links, and we also have an endpoint called database links and labs links. So I'll cover each of these in the use case, but this particular data links module will cover all the types of links that I have mentioned. And we also have specific API endpoints for each of these links as well. So you can just choose based on your use case, whether you want all of them or whatever it's for your need. So that's about the content, just a brief overview of the content available. And I hope it's clear so far, because I'm gonna dive into a brief introduction of the APIs to access those contents now. And feel free to ask any questions throughout the session, because it's interactive, and we want this to be engaging as possible for you guys. And yeah. So there are several ways of accessing data hosted by Europe PMC through various tools that you can see here. And you can select the one most fitting to your needs. So this page can be accessible via this link, which will be posted in the chat. So we have articles RESTful API to access publications and other related information. And we have also SOAP service along with the REST service. And we have annotations API to access annotations contained in abstracts or open access articles. And as I mentioned before, we have grants API to access the grant information from Europe PMC funders. And we have Open Archives Initiative service to access the metadata of all items and full text of a subset of these items. And we also have an active developer forum for user queries. And Also, so whenever there is a major release that we do on our APIs, we always post release notes in the forum and an announcement in the forum, and we also explain the details of what is the release is about, and if we have any updates of the existing API attributes or so. So you'll have to like keep an eye on it if there is any change in the existing integration that you have done. And we also have a case studies page and blogs page for you guys to see if there are any interesting use cases that may be relevant to you. And we also have a bulk downloads page where you can download, we have like almost 8 different types of bulk download options available for the articles in open access subset and the metadata of the full text articles. Yeah, so this is like the different tools available in Europe PMC. And in general, we can say the information in Europe PMC has been organized into 3 different contexts, as you see here. One is the publication information, which can be accessed via our articles RESTful API and SOAP web service, and the OAI service, the Open Archives, and the bulk download section. And we have like grants API, as I mentioned before, for accessing the grants information. And the last one is text mine biological concepts and relations, which can be accessed via annotations API. But in this particular workshop, I'll only be focusing on the articles RESTful API to access various publication information, and there will be another part of the workshop, I think next month, which will cover in more detail about the annotations API. And in case if you have any doubts on the other informations like the bulk downloads or grants, you're very welcome to ask. And yeah. So let's see more about the article RESTful API now. And this is the link to the page, which will be posted in the chat as well, which lists a whole lot of information about the article's RESTful API. So our article REST web service gives access to different kinds of publication information, including like 4.5 million full text articles and open access articles and database cross-reference and reference list on citation network data and more. And we have like different set of modules or request methods in our REST API. And each of these modules has a specific information, which I have just told. And each module has a specific URL syntax as well. Yeah, for example, there is one module called search module, which is a get endpoint. And this is like a widely used module in our web services because it gives access to a lot of data when you form different kind of search queries. And so the URL for this particular module can be constructed like this, where we have a generic API port, which is the web services REST highlighted in green. And we have the method called search, which is highlighted in blue. And then we can input at different query parameters as highlighted in orange. So in this particular example, it will search for articles related to malaria and sort by times cited in descending order. So these are like different types of sort parameters available, which I'll explain in more detail in the upcoming slides. But this is how in general you'll form a query URL for different modules, and one of them is this. And yeah, so this is a list of few get and post modules available in our articles REST API. And you'll see a whole list of modules in this RESTful web service page. And the page also provides detailed information on its usage with examples and tryout option. We have a Swagger interface as well. And yeah, so I'll just briefly explain few of the modules here. We have a search module to search publication database, and we have fields module to see the list of all index search fields that you can use as query parameter. And we have article module specifically to get the metadata and core information for one particular article instead of using a search module with the query. And we have citations module to get a lot of citation information available for a given article. And we have evaluations module. This one is recently developed, which gives information on the peer reviews for an article for preprints. And we have data links module to get various data literature links associated with the article. And we have full text XML module where you can download the full text content of the article in XML format, mostly the open access publications, of course. And we have supplementary files module to download the supplementary files for the full text publications. And the list is more. And as I mentioned before, in that one example, we had sort by cited. So we have different sorting results available in the API. So the default one is sort by relevance. If you don't specify any parameter, it'll sort just by relevance. And we also have sort parameter available for every single valued search query field. For example, you can search by the publication date or the author's first name, or how many times the article has been cited by ascending or descending order. And there are two more unique sort options also available. One is sort date and sort cited. So the sort date is you can sort by the date of publication, and the most recently published article will be in the result at the top. And there's this sort cited where you can sort by the number of citations, and also the most cited will be at the top of the result. So yeah, and these are some of the sorting options available. I have just given an example where instead of using cited and then ascending, you can just use sort cited to just get the top cited article in malaria. And you can also use the sort date functionality instead of using the p date and ascending. And yeah, hope it's clear. Moving on, we have three different result type options available. One is ID list, and the other is light and core. Sorry, just ignore the numbering. So yeah, the core one results the full metadata of the article for and like it will contain every information with the abstract text and the author and the affiliation information and more. But the light just returns the key metadata, like if it has a full text or not, or what's the ID, and some just key metadata. And the ID list just returns the IDs and source of the article. And this will be of interest if you want to just get the IDs of article based on a keyword search. And then you have to use some other module called to get the citation information maybe. So you search with the keyword and get the ID of the article. And with the ID, you go to citations module to get the citation information. So just we need not use the core always because it will be time consuming for a few use cases. And yeah, moving on. So you may have seen in our REST page, all the modules will have a Swagger interface for us to try on. So we can just input the query parameters on the page, and you can click on the tryout button, and it will construct you the request URL and the response body. And I'll be using this interface today to explain and solve the use cases. And you can also, follow along with this, or just try on the web URL. Yeah, so that's a brief overview of the APIs and with different kinds of APIs and sorting and different result types available. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll show you how to yield the potential of these APIs to solve few use cases, because we hope it will be interesting to go by use case rather than just going directly and explaining each module one by one. And so I'll try to cover most such modules with these 4 use cases. But as I mentioned before, I also have given few more use cases that can cover more modules as well. But if you do have any doubts in any other modules that I'm not covering, please feel free to ask. So is there any questions before I delve into the use cases? Okay, right. Let's move on then. So here are the use cases that will be covered today. First is identifying publications on a particular topic with associated PDB structures and analyzing their citations. And the other one is more for author information, to identify authors linked to specific concepts. And the third one is more related to peer review information for a specific article published by a specific author or so. And the last one is more about the article's status monitoring to get notified when an article is retracted or when a preprint is published or more. So yeah, I'll take the first use case, which is identifying publications on a particular topic with associated PDB structure and analyzing their citations. So just created some objective and scenario in case to just make it interesting. So the objective of this use case is to identify and analyze publications on CRISPR-Cas9, which is a particular topic that have associated PDB structures, and we also need to retrieve comprehensive citation information for these publications to understand their impact and influence in the research community, maybe. So you can read more about the scenario in case if you're interested. So yeah, so to solve this particular use case, what we need to do is first we need to identify the publications on this particular topic. And we also need to identify these publications that have associated PDB structures as well. So let me go to the search. So this is our article RESTful API page. And as I have told you before, I'll be using the tryout interface here to show you how we can achieve this. So these are the list of modules available. And so for our particular use case, this search module will be of interest to us, because we can form different queries with this module, tailoring to our use case. And as I have said before, we need to find articles based on this. So CRISPR-Cas9 topic. So yeah, So we have one parameter called query where you can just input the related information that you want. So for me, it would be this particular topic that I'm interested in. So you can just input the query like this. And the other important thing to note here is the result type, as I have mentioned before, because I need information on the publications and as well as the citation information as well. So I'll show you both the result types on what information we can yield. So first I'll go with the ID list result type to see a list of publications that are related to CRISPR-Cas9. And you can also see we have different types of parameters as well. You can choose the format. We have 3 different formats, XML, JSON, and Dublin Core. I always choose the JSON because it's easy to just see. And when you click on the tryout interface, so we have a list of IDs, publication IDs that are related to this particular topic. That's good. And but that's not my use case, because I also want to find the publications related to the topic that has associated PDB structures as well. So in that case, I need to think if there can be any field or attribute that I can use with this module to filter out the publications. For that, where we can refer is, there is a module called fields module, which will show you a list of fields available for us to use in the search query. So just use this module and see if there can be anything. So this will just list down the field names. It will not explain what the field will actually do, but we have actually a reference guide, which will be at the top of this page, and it'll also be pinned in the chat, where in the Appendix 1 indexed fields section, you will get a list of fields with the explanation of what the fields will do. So for me, I just need the publications on that topic that has a PDB structure. So there can be some fields. So maybe has PDB. Yes, there is a field called has PDB, which we can use to filter the results. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go back to my search module. And what I have to do is I have to do an and has PDB Y. And this can give me publications on this topic, and that has a PDB structure. So this is how we typically form a query using the Boolean operators. I'll just show you quickly how like few cases of how we can form the queries or the search terms. So we have Boolean operators, which can be used for any search like atrophy or degeneration or microscopy, not fluorescent, anything. And if you don't use any operator, and will be the default operator. For example, if you just search by hot disease, it will find all the publications having hot and disease in the context. And you can also use brackets for prioritization here, like here. And also there is one important thing to note is the double quotation, which will act as an exact match search. So for example, if you just give plasmid a design as mentioned before, it will include the publications which have plasmid and a design anywhere in the result. But if you specify in quotation, so it will just exactly match that phrase in the publication. And punctuation marks, so it will be removed if you use any punctuation marks from the query tokens, and it will be defaulted to and. Even if you use quotation marks, the punctuation mark will be removed. And there is actually no way currently to include the punctuation marks, but we are trying to solve this in future because it poses some issues for the users. And the only exception is the full stops, which are not followed by white space for internet domains. And we also have a field search, as I have just told before. You can search by different parts of the article through these fields. Like here, for example, you can search a particular topic on the title or in the abstract or in the affiliations or more. And you can combine these search terms with brackets or double quotes for an exact match. For example, if you search title with the exact match for disease, it will search for articles with the phrase "hot disease" just in the title and more. And as I mentioned before, this is a search syntax page where you can see a list of fields and information and a few examples as well. Or a comprehensive list is available in the document, as I mentioned before. So this one we have seen. Let me go back to our use case. So here I have given the topic and has PDB, and I'm going to hit search. Yeah, so it will give me a list of articles related to that topic and which has a PDB structure. And so this is just the ID list of the articles. So when you use the ID list format, or if I need to get more information of these articles, I can always go here and change the result type to core maybe. And you'll get more information on each article, like the author list and abstract and more information, like really vast information available, the mesh terms associated, everything. And yeah, so that's one part of the use case. And the next part of the use case is also to find the citation information, analyze the citation network data available for this particular result. So for that, so if you're just interested in the citation information at the end, you can just use the ID list and get the ID of one particular article. And we have a module called the citations module. So let me close this one. This one as well. Yeah. So this is the module where you have to input the identifier of the article, and you have to input the source of the article. And so it can only retrieve citation information for one particular article. You have to access for many articles programmatically. And I can put one ID, and I know the source of the ID is PubMed. So sorry, it's med. Just select format, and if you try it out. So we have the citation information that you can see here. So first will be the citation list, and you can see different articles citing this particular article. You can see the citation type, title, or the pub year. And also we have one more interesting attribute called cited by, to see if this article has been cited by any other article. It's just like in a loop, you can get the information. So this particular article doesn't have any cited articles, so it's 0. So yeah, so this is how you can be able to solve the first use case. And if you have any doubts, please feel free to ask, or you can also try one more scenario where for a particular cited article, I need to get bibliographic information. Because this is only citation information, but I also need to get bibliographic information. So for that, we do have a module called article module. So it's similar, you just have to input the source and ID. And here you can choose slide or core as well to just return the key metadata or core metadata. And you can choose, sorry, the JSON or XML or Dublin core, whatever you want. And you can see a list of bibliographic information like the journal volume, journal issue, or if it's open access, or if it has a full text, or like if it's in PMC, or if it has PDF and more. So like a lot of different bibliographic data that you can search. And also one thing to mention is how do I actually cross-verify that the has PDB actually written the article that has a PDB structure. So we have a separate module called database links module, where let's say, for example, just get one ID and input its source. And you can choose if this particular article has associated the PDB structure and the database which has been registered. For example, I can choose here the database to be PDB, and just, sorry, I always use this one. Yeah, so you can see here there are 2 entries in the PDB. So you can just verify with this particular module, and you can also see here the reference information, the count of the references, and also a detailed reference information which will be available here. And yeah, so that's about the first use case. But if you want to know more about these database links, various types of links available, you can go to this particular module called the data links module, which is like a comprehensive consolidated module to retrieve the data literature links, whether it can be the database links, which we have seen before, or it can be an external link, or it can be text main terms, etc. And the next use case is more about the author information, which will link to specific concepts. For example, let's say I want to get the author and the affiliation information related to diabetes, maybe having any related or supporting data linked as well. Let's see the scenario. For example, let's say Dr. Jane is like a senior researcher at a leading medical research institute, and is working on a study focusing on genetic factors influencing diabetes, maybe. And to ensure the research, she needs to find out and review the recent papers that not only focus on diabetes, but it should also provide access to supporting data sets. So it can be a use case where we need to extract the author and the affiliation information from the diabetes related academic papers, and particularly those that include the relating or supporting data. So yeah, it's just curated one scenario to accommodate as many research modules as I can. And yeah, so for this, as you may have guessed already, so to extract the author and the affiliation information related to a particular topic, we need to go for the search module again. And we need to give the query as diabetes and select the result type as core, because in the light result type, you will not get any author or affiliation information in detail. And let me go back to the module. Let me open the search module again. Yeah, so I can just input the topic diabetes, and you can choose the result type to be core to include all the author information. And yeah, so I can mention one more parameter here called synonym. So by default, the synonym is set to false. However, if you set it to true, you can be able to access various synonyms related to the field that you're keyword that you're searching for, all the information related to that. And like, yeah, it's like expanding using the mesh data that we have. And you click on try it out. So you get results for the papers related to diabetes. And the researcher can see the author information to check who is maybe who is very predominant in this particular field, maybe. And they can also see the affiliation information for each author. So which is to the affiliation details list. Yeah. So this is how the affiliation details list will be in the response body. So you get for each author, that will be the information. And yeah, so for this, the researcher can see for this particular diabetes, what the authors and the related affiliation information. But the researcher also wants to get the papers that has only related or supporting data available for her research. So for that, what we can do is we have to again check if there are any fields that could give this information. And there is a particular field called has data that will give you the list of articles that has any related or supporting data available. And if you just do and then has data, you'll get those information. Yeah, so you can see the hit count got reduced with this particular query. You just get the details or papers which has the related or supporting data available. And yeah, so just simple, the use case can be solved using this and just with one module. And if you go back to the data links module that I have mentioned before, this module also has one field called tags. In case, for example, let's say, let me just put one ID and you can choose the source. And maybe for this ID, if I should try it out. So you can see there are a few tags linked to this particular article's data links. So here, maybe if the researcher is wants to see more about the related or supporting data with this, you can use this particular API as well. And yeah, so that's about the second use case. But if you dig more into this particular API, you can get more information about the data links available, because we also provide the search by category. So it'll be the resource hosting the data link. It can be like this list of categories. It can be biostudies or biomodels or anything. And you can also search by how these links are obtained, if it's a direct database submission, or if it's like an external link provided by external providers, or if it's a text mining term, or if it's a text mining accession number. And you can also choose like from this date, I want these data links for this article, if there are any. And you can also choose the tags that you want to see specifically, the information. And yeah, let's move on to the third use case, to get the peer review information available for a specific article, maybe by a specific author as well. So yeah, okay. So the objective of this particular use case is like, let's say a user wants to retrieve a list of evaluators information for publications by author, maybe Volmer or, and that publication should also contain the phrase source scope to a COVID-related article in the abstract section specifically. So this case study aims to demonstrate how to effectively use like the search module and the evaluations module that we have to extract the information that is desired. And also to facilitate better understanding and transparency in the peer review process. And also emphasizing the importance of this phrase in the abstract, because the researcher maybe need to ensure the relevance of the ongoing, the previously ongoing pandemic research maybe. So for this particular use case, we have two modules that we can use, and we can combine a list of search fields that are available. Yeah, let's see how to solve this. So yeah, I can go to, I think by this time you may have noticed, like for most of the use cases, the first point of contact is the search module, because if you don't know the particular ID of the article or the source of the article, you just know a particular concept, you have to use the search module. We are also maybe in future trying to use like one API for everything, but that's a long shot. So yeah, so for now we have to combine these API modules. So yeah, so to search for articles, let me go back to the use case. Authored by Volmer or that contains the phrase source scope to in the abstract. So I have to use two search fields. One is for searching by author and for searching the content in the abstract. So maybe if you have the reference document with you, you can search for something like auth or something like abstract. So we have two different search fields. So one is auth. So always the search fields will be like the field name and then the query value. So I can search by author, and I can also search by a particular concept lying in the abstract section, specifically using a field called abstract. And you can just substitute the value. So this one will give you all the articles authored by Volmer or, and which has the source scope to in the abstract section. And you can choose actually the ID list type, because the user is not interested in all the information about the articles from this query alone, because the user needs to know about the peer review information from this one. So you can just use the ID list. So you get a few list of articles here, and I can just maybe take one. Just take the ID, because it's similar. The evaluations or peer reviews module is similar to the articles module, or few modules where you have to input the ID of the article and the source of the article. And let me just search, where is that module? Yeah, so this is the module. So you can input the ID. And since it's a PPR, which is a preprint source, I can choose source to be PPR. And yeah, so you will see a range of evaluations detail that is being shown. So I think you see an evaluation a list where you see what's the data origin for this review, and where is it from, which platform it's from, review comments, and who is the evaluator. Unfortunately, for this for this ID, for this one, we don't have the name of the evaluator. And but if it's available, it will be shown. So we don't restrict the information if we don't have any evaluator name. And yeah, so you can, so yeah, it's here. So you can see a list of evaluator name if it's available. So with this, the user can see the peer review information for analysis maybe. And also the user can see mostly which platform it's from, or they can just go to that platform and see as well with the URL. And yeah, so they can also see evaluation date and which data has been updated for more analysis. If they want to do any statistical analysis based on this information, they can be. So that's it about the evaluation of peer review information available. And yeah, so have you got any questions?
Yes, we have a question from Heidi. Is that data pretty sparse?
So
is it limited, the data?
we try to gather from all the sources. So up to my knowledge, it is not limited. But I can check this one.
Yeah, for peer review evaluation, sometimes things like the author's name isn't captured in the metadata, therefore that won't be reflected on the API if it hasn't been captured.
Yeah, can be a possibility. But from the source, whatever we get, we try to show. So that's how it has been coded. We didn't remove any information which has been from the source. So yeah. So that's it about the peer review information that can be accessed via the API. And I think I covered most of the modules. In case not, there will be similar use cases that we can see in the reference document to cover a few modules. And the last use case is an interesting one, which is the article status monitor tool that we have to see if an article is retracted, or if a preprint is published, or more status updates for an article. So there has been always a question if we are able to receive any automatic updates if there's any change in the article. It is not possible to receive automatic updates, but if you have integrated the API programmatically, maybe you can configure the program that way to check for the updates. So maybe it's for future. There can be a separate API, maybe. And yeah, so I'll just give a brief intro on what information we show. So let's take a preprint having two versions, version 2 and version 3. And we can get status updates when a preprint version has been published in a journal. Also, when a preprint version has been withdrawn or removed. And finally, when a journal article has been retracted. And so these are the types of information that are available with this tool and the API. And let me walk you through how this tool first looks on the web page before I jump to the API access. And so the tool is available via, so you can see in the Europe PMC homepage the tools option, and you can select the article status monitor here. So you can see this status monitor inputs has input of a list of different IDs that you can do. It can be a DOI, or it can be a PubMed ID, PMC ID, or PPR ID, anything. And if you input, for example, let me input. I need to get some IDs maybe. Yeah. So you can input a few IDs like this. So you can either mention the source colon the ID, or you can directly mention the ID that you know. So let's say I just enter these 4 IDs and I click on submit IDs. So I can see here 2 of 5 IDs that I have entered have an update associated, and the remaining 3 doesn't have any. And so in the input, let me go back. So if you know the ID particularly, you can input the IDs like this, but you don't know the IDs. I just know keyword that I have to search for and get the ID. So for that, what you can do from this is, so let's say I'm searching by a term called maybe like an author. So you search by the author, and you can do this export citations here, which will export the results of this particular keyword in different formats. And I can choose something called ID list, where I'll get only the IDs of the articles for this particular topic. And yeah, so once I get the list, yeah, so this is how the file will look. Just the list of IDs for that particular. You can just copy, paste, or if you want to use it programmatically, I'll explain you. And yeah, so let me go back to the page. Yeah, so you can just get the IDs like this and then enter, yeah. See, so for example, I'm submitting these IDs. Okay, it's a different set of IDs now. So you get 4 of 6 IDs have an update associated, where you can see there are 2 published preprints, and there is a 1 new preprint version, and there is 1 preprint withdrawn. And so this is like, you don't know which ID is associated with which of this update. So for this, you can get the export status updates button here. Again, let me see if it opens here. No. All right. So you can see here, the result has been exported like this. Maybe I think I'll show you in the slide with one particular row how the information is shown here. So yeah, so in the first row, you can see the origin ID, and then the type, and then the status updates, and then the associated IDs. So for this particular ID, there is a new version available, and the associated new versions ID is also given, like DPR 303488. So like this, you can get the status update information via the tool. But if you need to access it programmatically, we have an API module called the status update search. This is the post module. So we have just 2 post modules available. One is for the search, which I haven't shown, but you can use the search post module with the different kinds of request body, like the IDs or the queries, the field queries that you want. And the other one is the status update search for the article status monitor. And it has 2 parameters. One is so the first one is the request body, where you have to use the ID list, and so let me show you better to show you like this. Yeah, so you can input the list with the source and the external ID. External ID is just the identifier of the article. And if you input like this, you'll be able to get the output of the module like this. So the output has more useful metrics than the UI tool that you have seen before. So you can see at the top showing how many articles are queried and how many are found in the database, and the number of articles with and without status updates. And if there are any articles which are not found, then the main array. And then there is this main array detailing the information of the status updates. So first you have the title of the article and its published date, and then the status update, whether it's a new version or retracted. And we also have links to the article associated with the status. Yeah, so this is like way more information than the tool that we have seen. So overall, the API gives you a bit more info than the tool. Yeah. So that's about the article status monitor API. And there are a few limitations with this module. First is that so Europe PMC indexes different versions of preprints. And if a more recent version of a preprint ID exists, the article monitor will return this status update. But it's not always possible to match a preprint to a more recent or published version. For example, if a preprint server like bioarchive or medRxiv uses the same DOI for different preprint versions, where we may not be able to return version updates. So that's one limitation. And secondly, Europe PMC indexes preprint abstracts and metadata from Crossref and full text of COVID-19 preprints, or preprints supported Europe PMC funders. And we use links in Crossref as well as an algorithm to match preprint titles and author details to peer-reviewed journal published articles. Sometimes authors change the title of their paper between posting an early version to a preprint server for feedback and the peer-reviewed version being published in a journal. So therefore, it's not always possible to match a preprint to its published version in that case. I hope it's clear. And the third is we can only provide withdraw or removal updates for full text COVID-19 and Europe PMC funder preprints, while preprint which only has an abstract in Europe PMC and is not currently possible to identify if it's withdrawn or removed. Yeah, so that's about few limitations of the article monitor API tool. And just quickly go back to the articles RESTful API page. So there's one more information that I want to share. So that's about the article status monitor tool and the use case that we saw, the fourth use case. And so we do have two different versions or of releases available. The one is the production version of the API web service, and the other one is the test version. So in case if we do any deployments, and so there will be like a very minor downtime of the production. So in that case, you can always use the test version. So and also, as I mentioned before, there is always this release notes in the web page, which will show you different release history available whenever we release. And going back, let's just do one more thing. So one another important module is this full text XML module, where you can download the full text of articles in XML format. And I have also mentioned that there is a bulk download option available in Europe PMC. So it's a FTP service. So you can go here and choose the bulk downloads option. So you have like 8 different types of options for bulk downloads. So you can either download the open access subset, or the manuscript collection, or a preprint subset, and more. So just giving overview information. So we have, for open access, for example, we have like 2 different kinds of options to download. One, you can download the XML format or the PDF format. And I think it's just this one. So you can see a list of zip files for you to download. With the API itself, there are a few things that I can share. One is the request limits for the API. So it's currently can do 10 requests per second, and it's limited to 100 requests per minute. And we also have public projects available, and the link that is this. So we have few open projects available, which is hosted here. And also there is an OR interface for the Europe PMC APIs that you can utilize. There was an interesting question sometime before in the developer forum using this OR interface that you can check out in the forum. And yeah, so that's all from me about the use case and different contents available in the Europe PMC.